is Mahesh Jethmalani, member, Rajya Sabha and senior advocate in the Supreme Court. Mahesh Jethmalani, what do you make of the response of Rahul Gandhi to this?
Well, I mean, Rahul Gandhi remains unapologetic about his comment. Actually, it was an extremely reckless statement to make, sort of condemning everybody with the name Modi and condemning them as thieves. So, he remains unapologetic, and this will not stand him in good stead in any future proceedings pertaining to the defamation comment which he's made.
What next for Rahul Gandhi? The speaker has said that, the questions are being asked whether he should be suspended, and he can be suspended as a parliamentarian after this conviction.
Well, not suspended, he stands disqualified now. He stands disqualified as a member. Originally, the provision was under the Representation of People's Act that the disqualification doesn't kick in for a period of 3 months. But in 2013, the Supreme Court held that the concerned provision under the Representation of People's Act, which postponed the period of disqualification for a period of 3 months from the date of conviction, was illegal. Parliament could not have passed such a provision, and therefore it was struck down as being unconstitutional. So actually, the position is that he stands disqualified as a member of Parliament as of today, until he gets relief from an appellate court regarding his conviction, which means he has to go to an appellate court and get an order of stay of the order of conviction. That's the judgment of Lily Thomas's case in 2013. Not just get even if he succeeds in getting a suspension of the sentence, right? The judgment's impact is such that that won't help him. He will actually have to get the conviction stayed, suspended by the appellate court.
His statement was, Mahesh Jethmalani, and as per the Representation of the People's Act, a person sentenced to imprisonment of 2 years or more shall be disqualified from the date of such conviction, remains disqualified for another 6 years after serving time. But what is interesting is a kind of defense and the support that Rahul Gandhi is getting. For example, Arvind Kejriwal is backing him. Arvind Kejriwal also has made controversial comments. So do you think the opposition is sensing perhaps they will have to alter their discourse at some stage?
Well, everybody is facing some serious criminal matter or the other, or facing some conviction or, ongoing trial or proceeding. So I guess birds of a feather will flock together, and that's what's happening. Arvind Kejriwal, who was not a normal ally of Rahul Gandhi, has suddenly become one after the Manish Sisodia corruption case. So it's the old saying, birds of a feather flock together.
And his exact comments were, and you remember that comment. I don't even want to repeat it, but can he wriggle out of it? There are many people who are quoting different sections of the law to say that the court was wrong, and these are the usual suspects who often question the judiciary, and they're doing it again. But as per the law, what do you make of the judgment and the comment that was made originally?
See, prima facie, the statement that was made by Rahul Gandhi, which has got him into this soup, right, was an extremely reckless statement. And anybody with the name Modi, right, had a cause of action for defamation against it, based on that statement, right? And an MLA from Gujarat did in fact take up cudgels and, say that this was defamatory of him. Now the court has found that defamation was made out, right? And it's given him the highest sentence possible for an offense of defamation of 2 years, right? And that renders him liable for disqualification. But you can't, you can't, unless you have good grounds, you go to the court. The only way to deal with a court's judgment of conviction is go to the appellate court and make out consummate good grounds for getting it set aside. There's no point, outside court saying that this is a conspiracy, running down the judiciary. You cast serious aspersions. The problem with the opposition, and particularly the Congress and, the sycophantic supporters of Rahul Gandhi, is that they will destroy and undermine the credibility of every institution in this country, right, for saving one person. That's the extent to which they're going. For them, the Gandhi family is more important than India and its institution. That's the tragedy of this entire situation.
Well, do you think somewhere this is a lesson also for the opposition and especially the Vadra Congress, given that in the past Rahul Gandhi himself has had to apologize for statements that he has made? Most of them, he called it heat of the moment, he called it a mistake. He had to apologize to the Supreme Court even on the issue of Rafale.
Well, exactly. I mean, he's a habitual offender, and I think this comes from a certain mentality of entitlement. Rahul Gandhi is the most self-entitled person that I've ever come across. I mean, he really thinks that he's been born to rule, and if he's deprived of it, he can say anything to try and recapture power, right? Now, the law applies to everybody, be you ever so high, and he's not that high, actually. He's not so eminently qualified to occupy any public position of responsibility. So, he's a habitual offender. As you pointed out, he has apologized in the past for reckless mistakes, right? In Rafale, he was made to apologize by the Supreme Court. And he keeps doing this all the time. He keeps making, really, I mean, those who are advising him put him up, I think. They put him up. He's a figurehead. I don't even know if on his own he'd make these statements, but I think his advisors are to blame. They allow him to use language which gets him into trouble.
Yeah. And as you know, we've had a session in Parliament. My last question to you, Mahesh Jethmalani, we had a session in Parliament that has been washed out so far over, ironically, statements that he made about India on another country's soil. And as his party plans to perhaps rake this, do they have their option? Can they really question the courts now? Do you think? How do you think the Congress party will respond to this?
Well, the only sensible response is, if they feel aggrieved by this judgment of conviction and sentence, is to go to the appellate court and say, that they establish his innocence in that matter. That's any other citizen faced with a similar circumstance, right, would have to do that. Why is Rahul Gandhi an exception? Just because he's a Gandhi and he keeps a lot of people in business. That's all. So those people who are sycophants, who depend on him, without whom they are nothing, they are nobodies. You take out Rahul Gandhi and his whole retinue goes. It's that retinue which needs to be sustained by him, that keeps allowing him to do this kind of thing.
Yeah, let's see where the story goes. Mahesh Jethmalani, thank you for speaking to Republic TV.